All right, turning now to the city's migrant crisis. Officials say over 53,000 migrants are in the city's care just right now. They're staying in shelters spread out across the city, all filled to capacity. And there is now concern about security inside of those shelters.
Private security guards patrol the packed migrant sites, a job the City Peace Officers Union says is dangerous. Its union members work in some of the most vulnerable sites, including homeless shelters and now the migrant shelters. Joining us right now, Gregory Floyd, president of the Teamsters Local 237. Nice to have you on. Good day, New York.
Thank you for having me on.
So what's the situation right now, Mr. Floyd?
Well, the reason I'm here is because there was a posting for private security. And I was asked by the media about the private security, and I said, you know, not all migrants, but some of the migrants are MS-13 gang members, because we had an encounter in one of the shelters where one of our members got into an altercation and was almost fired because of this. And I said, there's a language barrier, and this is a dangerous situation. So when we see that we're hired for shelters, hospitals, schools, and those are what we trained for, and those are the jobs that we expect to do. And then all of a sudden the migrant situation comes up and we're thrown into that situation. We don't really know how to handle it. There's a language barrier. So we're vulnerable and we do not want to lose our jobs or get in trouble.
So let me ask you, what do you need? Because your men and women, your members of the union are in all these shelters. They're unarmed, right?
Yes.
So what do you need? I mean...
Well, I tell you what our members asked us for. They asked us for training. They asked us for interpreters because the language barrier is there, and those are the things that they were not given. So the situation was dire at the time, and
Is it still dire? Is it still a dangerous situation?
I think the migrants have been moved out of the shelters, and they're put in other locations where we are not.
Well, speaking about the shelters, NYC has opened up 186 of those emergency shelters. Are you seeing, maybe you can kind of keep an eye on some of the shelters where this one has been an issue, this one has been an issue, or because it's not all across the board at each one?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you because I don't know where the 186 are. I can't keep track. And our members are not working in 186 shelters because in the Department of Homeless Services, we have less than 400 uniformed personnel in those shelters.
Talk about the fact that as municipal workers, you cannot legally just say, I don't want to work. Like this can't happen. So what happens when they put out this contract? They can just say, we don't need you anymore? Is that how it's going to play out?
The contract is for those assignments that we don't do.
Yeah.
It's for those locations that we are not in. Those are temporary locations. What happens when the migrant crisis goes away and those shelters are still there? What happens to the staff? You don't have the staff. We're permanent employees. We have permanent jobs. You start hiring people just for those assignments, and all of a sudden you have a situation where you have too many employees. What happens to those employees?
Yeah, they lose their jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your members, I mean, obviously you're in homeless shelters, you're in migrant shelters. Do your members see a difference in working in homeless and migrant shelters?
Well, we're not assigned to the migrant shelters. We're assigned to homeless shelters, and some of the migrants at the beginning were placed in those shelters, and that's where we encountered them because they came to where we are stationed.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
And then you felt that some of your members felt that some of these people that were put in the homeless shelters were not vetted properly and could be dangerous.
Yeah, some of them were, and some of the migrants, in their own language, told our members that some of those are gang members. They're gang members from our country. That's what they told them, and that's how we knew that there were some gang members that were mixed in with the migrants.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah. You just need a better vetting process. If we can find that out, you should find that out before you put them on a bus and send them down here to send them over to New York. That should be done over at the border. I mean, you got the governor of Texas, you got the governor of Florida just putting people on planes and buses.
Well, what about the president of the United States, Mr. Floyd?
Well, he too. He's got his agents there, and I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but they should be vetted before you put them on a bus.
Yeah, I mean, the responsibility lies at the top.
You should make sure these are families and these are people who are actually seeking asylum coming here, and not people who are coming here to bolster the gang problem that we already have.
Oh, yeah.
We have the mayor kind of responded to this, so let's take a listen to what he had to say.
We've always had security at our shelters, and if there's a contractor that states they don't want to do it, there are other contractors that state they want to do it. So this is not a crisis of finding security. This is a crisis that we're not receiving the support we should be receiving from the national government.
What are your thoughts on what he had to say about that?
Well, the mayor, Eric Adams, is correct. Private security has always been in the Department of Homeless Services.
Yeah.
The reason why we're there is because the private security could not adequately do the jobs. So about 20 years ago, they brought back the special officers, the homeless service police, and that's what we were there for. They supplement our members. Right. So they've always been there, and then we came in and we do a job and they work hand in hand. So he's correct when he says that.
Let me ask you, have you been able to present to the mayor proof, evidence of what's happening in some of these homeless shelters? Like, you know, Mr. Mayor, meet, you know, this person who actually had a conversation with, you know what I mean? Like to really show proof.
We did not. You know why? We weren't asked. The posting came up. I didn't know about the posting. I was asked a question by a member of the media, and here I am. No one asked me. I mean, I'm here because there was a posting. No one told me about the posting. I wasn't given notice about the posting. I couldn't respond to the posting. So, as I say, when I don't know about something, I just give the answer that I know.
But you do know about the fact that your members felt, and some of them felt unsafe.
Sure.
Some of them feel like they're unarmed. What can we do?
But I wasn't asked.
But what do you do about that then? When they say that?
What I do about that? I go to the agency commissioner, and I had that conversation with the commissioner who's subsequently resigned, and he and I had a conversation, and we were working on that problem.
Well, Gregory Floyd, president of Teamsters Local 237, we appreciate you coming on Good Day New York and kind of clarifying things for us about, you know, what your men and women face in the shelters every day. We appreciate it.
Thank you.